Okay, so we're back in Please Be Happy. We're still in chapter 2. I honestly thought we were going to finish chapter 2 last time we played,
Mm,
because chapter 1 took the full 2 hour stream. When we played 2 hours
yeah.
last time, so I figured
Mm,
that each chapter would be about 2 hours, but I feel like we're getting close. Like, we're going to be like maybe one or two panels away from like chapter 3.
yeah. You're probably
Uh,
not far off.
yeah. So I'll start off, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and go to Hataitai Park.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Yeah, we got to see Lena and her boyfriend
Oh,
situation.
yay.
During a conversation with Aspen, he told me about what Lena's next adventure would be, an outdoor painting class. When that time rolls around, I decide to go check it out. Lena is just like, I need to be everywhere this man is, and hopefully he'll
Mm,
notice me.
yeah. That's a mood.
Just like the other activities I've tried with Lena, it'll be happening in the park. When I arrive, I don't even have to look around. The class is right next to the entrance. The group is bigger than the ones for tennis and tree planting. Everyone has a big canvas on a stand in front of them, and there are a bunch of paints and brushes in the middle. Lena's easy to find, like always. I see Cyrus on the other side of the crowd, away from her. It seems like he's not the one in charge today. A friendly person in a paint-stained apron sees me arrive and helps me choose a canvas and some art supplies, and then sends me to find a spot. Naturally, I head over to where Lena is.
Hey, mind if I set up here? Oh, sure. Are you new here?
Oh, I forgot about this. She's just gonna constantly forget her.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is my first time painting. Me too. Wanna have a Actually, maybe you shouldn't race when you're painting.
I take a peek at what Lena's been working on. It doesn't seem like there's a particular topic, so everyone's painting is different. Lena's painting is a picture of a young swan with a pink flower on its head. It's surprisingly great.
This is amazing for your first time. You think so? I mean, of course it is. What are you gonna paint? I don't know yet. Let's see.
There are a bunch of different sized brushes and a variety of colors. Having so many options to choose from makes it harder, not easier to decide. Maybe I should go for something simple, like a tree. Using a brush and a shade of brown, I get to work.
All right, everyone. Warm up's over. Go ahead and find a partner. We're going to work on portraits today.
My tree is mostly done by now. Not very detailed. It doesn't look very any tree I've ever seen in real life. At least I can tell what it's supposed to be. The instructor says to choose a partner. I instinctively turn to Lena, preparing to ask her. But of course, she's looking over in Cyrus's direction. Get your man.
Mm, yes, get that man.
I sighed to myself.
You should go ask him before he ends up with someone else.
It'll mean I'll have to partner up with a stranger. But as far as Lena's concerned, she and I are already strangers, so it shouldn't make that much of a difference. Lena jumps in shock.
Whoa, are you a mind reader? Something like that. That's so cool. You're right, though. But what if he says no? Then he says no, I guess. Nothing would have changed, right?
She tapped her chin. Shoot your shot, girl.
You kind of remind me of someone I work with. Anyway, wish me luck. Good luck.
I watch as Lena goes up to Cyrus and talks to him. Too far away for me to hear. I guess it must work out, because they soon set up their canvases facing each other. Unfortunately, watching them means that I missed out on my chance to find a partner. When I look around, everyone else is matched up with someone. That's more than fine with me. But unfortunately, the instructor comes over and invites me to partner up with her, which I grudgingly accept. For the next little while, I struggle to make something that resembles the woman across from me. This would be a lot easier if she looked like a tree. After 10 to 15 minutes, she claps her hands to get everyone's attention.
Time to change things up. Show your partners what you made, and then go find a new partner.
Well, everyone gets to that. She brings her canvas over to show me.
Whoa.
It's definitely me. My tail is fluffier in real life, and my ears aren't that big, but I can still recognize myself.
Mine's not even close to that good.
I turn around the canvas so she can see the results. Compared to the painting she made, I'm kind of embarrassed to stare. Still, she smiles at it.
I think it's lovely. Painting is like anything else. The more you do it, the more you improve. And I've been doing it for a long time. We all have to start somewhere, though.
Not wrong.
Yeah, not wrong.
The moment the instructor and I are done talking, someone taps me on the shoulder. I turn around to see Lena.
Hey, let's be partners. Sure.
Secretly, I just think to myself about how I'm getting paired up with another good artist. The instructor blows a whistle to signal the start, and Lena and I both get to work.
So, how'd it go? How'd what go?
I know she can't have forgotten me that quickly.
Talking to Cyrus. Oh, that.
Using a few shades of pink and white, I managed to paint something that looks passably close to Lena's clothes. If I squint a little at least.
I got too nervous to really say much, so we just painted each other until it was time to switch.
Ugh, fine. You got close enough, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of a brush stroke, Lena suddenly drops her brush in horror.
Oh, what if he thinks I'm boring? I don't think anyone could think that about you.
You're definitely not boring. Talkative,
No.
but you're fine.
Yeah,
She's chatty, but she's not boring.
this is not good.
Leaving the paintbrush in the grass, Lena closes her eyes and puts her fingers to the sides of her head like she did back at tennis. She must do that for at least a minute, while I just keep working my painting. It looks more like Lena than my last one looked like the painting instructor, but I already know her wings are going to give me trouble.
Okay, got it. I need you to do me a favor. What is it? When we change partners again, I need you to go partner up with Cyrus, and then you can ask him what he thinks about me.
Girl, just go.
Damn.
Ask him, though, that
Lena!
Try to see if you can get him to say it without saying it.
It's just,
Say it without saying it? Yeah, you know, like,
Makes a few gestures that remind me of charades, but I have no idea what she's trying to say.
Okay, I'll try. Thanks, I owe you one.
Hi, Cindy. I'm not even motivated by that, because it's not like she'll remember long enough for me to ever cash it in. I just want to see what happens.
All right, new partners. This will be the last time.
Here, this is my painting of you. It's better than the last one.
It still isn't great, but I like the way some parts of it turned out.
Ooh, I look great.
Looking down at her own canvas, Lena frowns.
I, kind of forgot to paint you.
Lena.
Oh, I guess I owe you two things.
Oh, it's not gonna get cashed in.
That's fine.
Oh.
Cool. Okay, hurry, before someone else takes him.
I walk over to Cyrus as fast as I can without being self-conscious about it. Fortunately, he was distracted with something himself, so he's still on his own.
Hey, wanna be partners?
All right. I'm sure it's a total coincidence you were just talking with Lena, right?
Not at all.
I appreciate the honesty. Anyway, let's get started.
Both of us set up our canvases. I feel a little more in my comfort zone painting Cyrus. At the same time, I try to think of how to do what Lena asked.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
Uh-oh. I mean, what is it?
There's something that I want to ask Lena, but I don't know how she'll take it. We've known each other for a bit, but that's why I'm worried. I mean, I kind of know her feelings, but not that well. So, and maybe don't ask her this outright. Maybe you can try to see how she feels.
Oh my god.
Saying it, but not saying it?
Makes a vague hand gesture that eventually turns into a shrug.
Well, you know what I mean.
Bunch of high schoolers. No, not even high
Oh
schoolers,
my.
middle schoolers.
Oh my god, please.
I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, I remember going through this kind of, like,
Oh,
awkward phase. I think we all
Mhm.
do.
Oh yeah.
But it was like, hey, like, so, like, your friend, it's like I kind of like her. So, like, if you could, like, tell her that I like her without telling her that I like her. And it just, like, just becomes convoluted in a game of horrible telephone.
Mm. With me, I just go straight to the person and say, you know what, I like you.
I think I did that.
I had no balls. I mean, sorry, I had no shame.
I was about to say, I think it's the other way, but
Yeah, I had balls. I had guts.
yeah, you had guts. You had balls. You had guts. You went for it. I think I did it once, and that was my first girlfriend, and it was. I mean, it was fine and it was okay, but I mean, you know. No, I don't.
Anyway, what I want to know is...
A shrill whistle blows, cutting Cyrus off.
Alright, that's it. Time to show him off.
I rub my ears to recover from the sound before waiting for Cyrus to continue.
Actually, never mind. It was dumb anyway. Here's what I made. Ta-da!
Cyrus spins his canvas around to reveal.
Oh, phew.
I can't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He's just as bad at painting as I am. I show him my equally unimpressive work. It's messy and scattered.
Nice job. You really captured the way I feel inside.
I want to press him on what he was going to say, because this is the second time he's almost asked me about Lena, then changed his mind. Before I can ask, though, Lena herself comes hurrying over, carrying her canvas. She walks up and shoves it into Cyrus's hands before he can even react.
I made this for you so you'd have okay, bye.
Immediately, she zips off back the way she came. He holds the portrait out at arm's length, where he can see it. I move behind him to get a good view as well. Just like Lena's picture of the swan, her picture of Cyrus is really good. It shows him looking thoughtful as he works on his own painting, biting his lip in concentration. I like how probably her partner was like, "Can I see it myself?" And she's like, "No."
No.
There's a lot of detail in his eyes and face, and on the leafy vein that runs up his neck.
Whoa. This is...
Really good?
yeah.
The two of us look around to try to find Lena, but she's nowhere to be seen. Must have left right away, or she's hiding somewhere.
What was it you wanted me to ask her?
Cyrus just shakes his head, still looking at the painting.
It's fine. I need to ask her myself.
All of us, minus Lena, help each other clean everything up, with some people taking home their portraits and others tossing them. Cyrus and I say goodbye to each other, but we never talk anymore about Lena. Still, even if it's a while before we hang out again, I have a feeling I haven't heard the last of this. Okay, so I'll let you read the next one, but where do you want to go?
Ooh. Let me see. I can either go fishing, or I can go talk to the kid and the mum again.
Yeah, last time it was just a kid and the dad, right?
Yeah. You know what? I'll go to Cuba Street. I'll go talk to the kid.
Okay.
I kind of like that kind of like plot of where that's going.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Looking for something to do, I head to Cuba Street to walk around. I don't go shopping very often since I have pretty much everything I could need at the library, but I do like looking around. While I wander, I notice two people that I sort of recognize sitting at the table together. Tommy's parents. Last time, the dad introduced himself as Elijah. Although I recognize his mom, I never heard her name. The two of them are sitting across from each other, and his mom has her face in her hands. Elijah looks kind of upset, but stays on his side of the table. Tommy and Gerby... No, it's Gerby. Tommy and Gerby don't seem to be around. My curiosity gets the better of me, and I sit down close by where I can hear what they're talking about. Don't see suspicious,
Gwen,
don't
still
be
on the same
suspicious.
side here. Tommy's side, right?
I know, it's just... it's a lot, okay?
Yeah. But we knew it wasn't going to be easy.
At least we were right about that.
Gwen pats her pockets looking around, and Elijah pulls out a pack of tissues from his own pocket. He offers them to her, and she takes one and blows her nose.
What are we supposed to tell his teacher? This is the third time he's gotten in a fight this month.
Ooh,
Oh no.
damn. Are they talking about Tommy? Can't picture him in a fight. He's way too small. He's way too small. That's a mood. Have you seen small people in a fight? They'll go for your kneecaps. What would he even be fighting about?
Did they say if he won or not?
Elijah, you're asking the right questions.
Exactly.
Yeah, but did he win?
Why don't you talk to the school and let them know that we're dealing with it, and I can talk to T when he's back from your place next time.
Fine. Maybe he'll listen to you better than he'll listen to me.
Maybe. It's a shame we can't get Gerby to talk to him.
Gwen scoffs.
Or anyone. I don't think it's bad for him to have an imaginary friend or anything, but...
Oh, that's right. The other day, Tommy and I ran into someone who was able to see Gerby.
He's talking about me. I scoot a little closer on the bench where I'm sitting to make sure I don't miss anything.
Really? Who was it?
You know, I can't remember. I remember them saying it, but I can't picture their face or voice. I wish I'd gotten a name or something.
So you don't actually know if they saw him or not? They just said they could.
Oof.
Well, technically. Maybe you're right. I wish I could think of who it was.
I'm tempted to walk over and tell them that it was me, but I don't know what that would accomplish. I don't have any ways to prove what I'm saying, and it might just make me come off as crazy. I can only sort of follow along with what they're talking about, but it seems like Tommy's having a lot of trouble and neither of them know what to do about it. That's not anything I can give advice on or help with either. Sighing, Gwen checks her watch.
Well, I've got to go pick him up. I'll let you know what the teacher says when I talk to her.
All right. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah, bye.
They both stand up, and it seems like they're not sure how to act. Finally, Gwen gives a stiff wave and walks off down Cuba Street. Elijah sticks around for a little longer, sighing like Gwen did and running a hand through his hair. Then he leaves in the opposite direction. Humans and their relationships are complicated. I hope I never have to deal with something like that. Now that the two of them are gone, there's nothing else going around here that's very interesting. Eventually I get up as well and start walking again in search of the next thing that can entertain me for a while. Having dinner and saying goodnight, I head upstairs and get ready for bed. As I flick off the lights and start to leave the restroom, something in my reflection catches my attention. My bead is glowing slightly. Just barely. It's so faint that I can only notice it in the darkness. Removing the necklace, I inspect it more closely. The worm. Not just my magical bead, but the regular ones next to it too. Not as warm as when I use my transformation magic, but enough that hundreds of years of carrying them I can detect the difference. I'm not sure what it means. Everything about my magic has always been a mystery to me, really. Some things, like transforming, I just knew how to do instinctively from the beginning. But other than the fact that my bead always comes back to me no matter where I leave it, I don't know much about it. Returning to my room, I brush my hair to the side and put the necklace back on. I don't have to wear it when I sleep, but it feels more uncomfortable not having it on. Like something's missing. When I climb into bed, I pull the covers up to my chin like always. Rather than transforming, I just lay there, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow is my first day of work. Never in a few hundred years had I expected that thought to ever cross my mind. Laying here, in the place that I've started thinking of as home, the idea doesn't seem that scary. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm excited too. Maybe I'll be really good at it. It'd be nice to be good at something other than thieving. As my eyes begin to get heavy, it occurs to me that usually I have changed into a fox by now. Except for the first night, when I was too tired. I spent all my nights here, in that form. Tomorrow I'll be taking another big step into people life, so it feels more appropriate to stay this way. Rolling onto my side, I face out the window as I let myself succumb to sleep, and with the gentle warmth of my beads against my neck. The morning of my first day at work, I wake up extra early, at least now before Aspen will be here. I creep through the house so Juliet can't hear me and slip out the front door. Outside is wet. I don't know if it's rain or just the morning dew. It's more dark than sunlight still, but I can already see that the clouds overhead are grey. Just 2 weeks ago, that could have been a cause for concern. Now is barely worth thinking about. I have somewhere warm to go back to. I start walking, taking a familiar path. Really only been 2 weeks. I feel that I've done more than living in the past few days than in all the years before them. Every day, something new, and every morning, something secure. It's a life I could only ever dreamed about. It scares me how fast I slipped into it. I spent my whole life alone. I devoted my entire existence to keeping it that way. But now, ever since meeting Aspen and Juliet, I'm not sure I like being on my own quite as much. It feels like I'm losing part of myself. My armor, my defense mechanism. Like I'm getting weaker. And maybe that's true. But also, maybe that's okay.
It's called healing, girly. It's okay.
It's called healing, abso-fucking-lutely. You need that healing, girl. Maybe it's okay to let myself be a little more vulnerable. Just a little. There's no one else to be seen on Mount Victoria as I make my way up the path. Instead of going straight to the top, I veer off into the underbush. I haven't been back to my den since Juliet came and found me. I haven't forgotten the way, though. All the rain since then has done a number on the den. It's barely recognisable since most of it's collapsed into mud. In other words, it hasn't changed much since the last time I was here. Overhead, the birds chirp in the trees. Maybe they're the ones I fed before.
Morning, birdies. Sorry I don't have anything for you today.
It doesn't stop them from asking. Half-heartedly, I try scooping away some of the mud from the mouth of the den, but more just slides down, erasing my progress. Then one of the walls collapses even more, making things worse.
Well, so much for that.
It's well and truly ruined. That's okay though. I don't think they'll be coming back here. Don't think I'll be coming back here. Just 2 weeks ago, this was all I had. Now it doesn't feel like anything. That's okay too. I turn, about to head to the main path. Then I rustle the branch and something comes out of the brush. She walks confidently for a fox. She trots right out of the bushes and crosses in front of me, then freezes mid-step. Her fur was pure silver except for the patch of black across her face and paws. We lock eyes instinctively. Instinctively, I can feel myself prepare to transform. So I can greet her as a fox, but I hesitate. Is that still my place? I'd be lying if I call myself a fox now. At least fully. I relax, not having noticed how tense I was. My beads also go cold, although they barely started to heat up.
Hi there.
It's a person instead, same as when greeting the birds. At the sound of my voice, the tail turns tail and runs. She doesn't give it a second thought. One second she's there and the next she's almost out of sight. I can feel the pull in my chest telling me to run after her. I'm sure I could still catch her if I tried. Of course I don't. I'm not the kind of person who goes chasing after foxes anymore. Instead, I watch her disappear. It doesn't take long, not even the grass rustles behind her. I'm sure I still transform into a fox in the future. I love it too much not to. But I had to set some boundaries for myself. Watching her go fills me with a pang of longing, and also confidence. I'm making a choice to live this way. Even if I regret it later, at least I thought about it. At least I'm trying. I make my way back to the trail and up to the top of Mount Victoria. Coming up here never ceases to amaze me, no matter the weather or the time of day. The view is always stunning. Right now, it's just me and the breeze. I close my eyes and spread my arms out, letting the wind ripple through my hair and jacket. For a moment, I just let myself go and appreciate how it feels to exist, to be alive and enjoying the breeze. I'm pretty lucky, aren't I? Slowly, I open my eyes again, looking out over the city spread before me. The first time I came up here, I thought it felt kind of small. After all, I can see the whole thing from here. But now, it strikes me how big it is, how big and how full. There are more people than there are buildings, and there are plenty of buildings. Humans and fabled, all alive and existing. Up until now, it's been easy for me to forget that people exist just like I do. That they have thoughts and feelings and things that they want, rather than just being problems to solve or obstacles to avoid. Now, I can't help but notice just how alive the world around me is, even at this early hour. I may be alone up here, but there's plenty of activity down in the city. I fumble around in my pockets until I find the right size coin and feed it into the binoculars nearby. I scan over the city, looking for anything that I recognize. Finding the fishing spot is easy, since all I had to do was follow the coast. The whole pier is already covered in fishermen. From there, I managed to find the bell house. Its windows are dark and it doesn't stand out much. I wonder if Aspen will be the first one there again today. After the bell house, I aim the lens of the library. The windows are dark too, and of course including the window to my room. I pause on that image. Just my window, framed in the middle of the lens. From all the way up here, I can spot a tiny little place that I can call my own. I stare at it until the shutter clicks and the view goes dark. Just 2 weeks ago, I stood up here and wondered if I'd be better off leaving. I'm glad I have an answer to that now. I turn around and begin the long walk home.
I'll go from here. The library is still dark when I get back. I can hear the low murmur of conversation from the kitchen. As I step through the doorway, I find both Aspen and Juliet already seated at the table, waiting for me. Breakfast is already cooked, too. There's a lot more food than usual.
Ah, Miho. Welcome too. Morning. Just went out for a walk. Sorry if you thought I ran away again.
Aspen shakes her head, pouring herself a cup of coffee as I sit down.
The thought crossed my mind, but I didn't really believe it. You've got a big day today, right? You can say that again. Went on my walk just to clear my head. I hope you're excited too. I'm happy for you, even if I am a teensy bit jealous.
Aspen spoons a tiny scoop of sugar into her coffee and stirs it. Wait, is that how you're supposed to do it? I'll have to remember in case Juliet ever makes me drink tea again.
A teensy bit of jealousy is a good motivator to work even harder myself.
Actually, about that,
Juliet, you had better not be about to offer me a job.
Rather the
Mm.
opposite. I have a favor to ask. Just for today, do you think you could assist Miho as she gets her bearings? It's getting near my bedtime, and while I'm sure Miho would be able to handle herself, I imagine a helping hand would make things easier. That is, assuming Miho doesn't mind.
Of course not.
Both of us look at Aspen expectantly. She bites her lip and tries to hide her smile behind her cup of coffee as she takes a sip.
Well, I suppose I could spare the time. Great. But what about the Bell House? You didn't get fired, did you? They'd go out of business the day they fire me, and they know that. I enjoy how that's your first assumption.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did feel that way with some jobs that I had. I was like, you can't survive without me. I do too much shit for y'all.
yeah. I'm the one that they get rid of despite I'm the best person, but yet they will find an excuse to get rid of me.
No, I simply swapped shifts with someone, so I don't have to go in until later. Wow, that's convenient.
And much to our benefit. Thank you, Aspen.
Don't mention it.
Then, shall we turn our attention to breakfast instead?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
There's usual eggs and toasted fruit, but there are also pancakes and hash browns too.
You really went all out, huh?
I felt today merited a bit of a celebration. Of you, and the start of another chapter of your life.
Aw, thanks. It's really all because of you two, though. I'm just... Oh, quit saying that. You need to give yourself more credit, Miho. We can only try to help show you the path. You're the one who has to follow it.
Whoa, who wrote that?
Nobody. I do occasionally have my own thoughts, you know. Anyway, just accept the compliment and let's eat.
Fine.
We all fill our plates and start to eat. Breakfast is as delicious as always. Pancakes are still warm and dripping with melted butter and syrup. The hash browns are nice and crispy.
How is it?
Great! I've never had hash browns that weren't soggy before.
Sometimes that's because they were leftovers I scavenged, but sometimes even when they're fresh.
I'll be sure to remember you like them this way. Oh, and the pancakes you made are delightful, Aspen.
You made these?
Don't sound so shocked. I have to do a lot of baking and prep work at the Bell House.
They're really, really good.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them.
As tasty as they are, there ends up being more food than I can eat. I force myself to finish the pancakes, even though I'm full by the time I'm halfway done with them, because I don't want Aspen to take it personally. But eventually, I have to throw my fork down in defeat.
Did you get enough to eat, Miho?
More than enough. I think I'm set for the rest of the day.
I'm sure you'll feel differently by lunchtime.
And there's no greater compliment to the cooks.
The three of us start to clear away dishes, and I start to feel a little apprehensive as opening time draws near. I spent enough time in the library to know I don't need to worry too much, but I can't help to be anxious. There are a lot of little details to remember, not just which books go where, but stuff like names and special requests too. I already know I'm not going to be the fastest, since I'll have to just copy words and see which ones match instead of being able to read them. With all the practice and memorization I'm done, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. So instead of dwelling on it, I make myself focus on rinsing the dishes, making sure I don't miss any spots. On the other hand, Aspen is positively buzzing with excitement, although I can tell she's trying to hide it. She flits from task to task, straightening things that don't need to be straightened and tidying up parts of the kitchen that aren't dirty. She hums to herself as she goes, sometimes popping up beside me or Juliet. And of course, Juliet herself is the same as ever, calm and stoic. I thought she might be a bit worried about leaving the library in our hands, but considering she leaves it unstaffed most of the time, maybe not. At the very least, I'm determined to not leave the library any worse than when there's nobody running it. Finally, we finish all the cleanup and chores.
Thank you for your assistance. Are you two ready?
Yes, whenever. Yep.
Let's get the two of you set up then.
Juliet leads us to the front desk, where there's a fresh deck of checkout sheets and a jar of pins, plus a computer for looking things up.
I did a once-over before breakfast to make sure everything was as it should be. I'm sure the two of you know your way around the place by now, and that's really all there is to it. And if you feel the need, don't hesitate to wake me.
Don't worry, we'll be fine. I'm like Cinderella. I intend to live my dreams for the precious few hours that I can.
Do you have any questions, Miho? Or anything you'd like to go over again?
Nah, I'm fine. I've done all the prep I can.
All right then. If the two of you are all set up, then I'll be off to bed. I'll see you.
Have a good sleep. Good night.
With the final wave, Juliet goes upstairs and disappears into her room. From behind the desk, Aspen places her hands on her hips and looks around like a queen surveying her kingdom.
And now we wait.
I take a seat in one of the two chairs and kick my feet back and forth. After pacing around a little bit, Aspen sits down too, twirling a pin between her fingers.
Nervous? A little bit. It's understandable. I was nervous on my first day of work too. I'm sure everyone is. I just don't want to mess anything up. Especially not on my first day. Relax, it'll be fine. Not that I think you will, but even if you do make a mistake, that's natural. It's how you get better at things. By doing them wrong until you figure out the right way. There's not much that can really go wrong, either. It's not like at a restaurant where there are customers paying money and with all kinds of different orders. If it takes you some extra time to find a book or put one away, that's no big deal. Yeah, I know you're right, but I still worry. I don't want to do such a bad job that Juliet changes her mind about me or something. Are you still
That's a mood.
worried about that? Juliet adores you. You could burn the whole library down and she'd still let you live in the ashes.
I don't know about that much, but she does care about you.
Oh yeah, with some people, yeah, they will burn down an entire place and they will still have a job.
That'd be closer to what I'm used to, at least. Right, you and your dramatic backstory. My what?
Your what now?
Backstory? Life story? Whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make light of it. Oh, it's fine. I don't mind. Just forget that you think it's interesting. I hope someday you understand why. Maybe you'll hear a story that resonates with you and makes you want to know more, or get to know that person better.
She pokes me in the side with her pin.
Like me, when I met you. I guess that makes sense. Like when I talked to you and Juliet. Juliet, perhaps. Even I don't know much about her life before she came to Welly, and even that is fuzzy. And you? I know this makes me sound like a hypocrite, but
there really isn't much to say about my past. For one thing, I don't have nearly as many years as you two. But also, I had a boring, normal childhood in a boring, normal town. I went to a boring, normal school for a while before I moved out here, hoping for a change of pace. But now I live a boring, normal life, just in a different city.
Aspen, we get it. You had a boring, normal life.
I'm sorry that you're a normal, boring, boring, normal human. Aspen opens her mouth to say something, but right as she does, the front door opens and Aspen leaps to her feet.
Good morning.
The guest, a red-haired human, looks surprised.
Oh, hello. Wasn't aware there was anyone working this early.
I'm just helping out today. But Miho here is the library's new daytime caretaker.
All right, what a way to throw me under the bus there. Okay.
Hi there.
I wave, but I'm not sure if there's anything else I'm supposed to say. Luckily, Aspen seems to have it covered.
Let us know if there's anything we can do to help.
Cool. Congrats, Miho. I'm just here to browse. Thanks, though.
Enjoy.
She gives him a bright smile as he walks in and heads to the books before taking her seat again.
Good job. Thank you. Why don't you greet the next guest?
Do I have to do that for everyone who comes in?
No, but a smile and greeting never hurt. Although we'll...
Right.
The door opens again and a pair of twin dryads enters. I stand up, my legs feeling just a little shaky.
Hi! Let us know if we can help.
Neither of them speak, but they both smile graciously and nod in acknowledgement as they pass by us.
See? That wasn't so bad, was it?
No, but so far no one's needed any help.
Listen, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, like, you know what? No news is good news.
I mean, honestly, I was like, just let me do my task. Do not talk to me. Do not ask for
Yeah.
anything. Because every time that I had a customer ask me for help, it was for, like, the most blatantly
Yeah.
stupid shit. And it made me so, like, frustrated.
Especially when you're doing something as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, I, like, the store that I worked at, it was a bookstore and a coffee shop. So
Yeah.
there'd be some days where it'd be like, hey, you're going to work the coffee shop. Or some days you're going to work the books. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I would have people come up to me and be like, I remember I had this one old lady come in. She was like, hey, I want to find this book about Elvis. I'm like, okay, cool. Do you remember the name? No. Okay. Do you remember who wrote it? No. Okay. Well, do you remember what it looks like? I know it was...
No.
Yeah, she was like, I know it's pink. And I'm like, well, I guess I can go to the database. Do you know how many books are about Elvis?
Mm-hmm. That are pink.
Well, it was just like, I can't, like, I can't put into the filter of our database of, like, book
Color.
color. So it's just like, all right,
God.
Elvis, and there's like 20,000 results because our database was stupid and it kept books that were also out of stock in it.
Oh my god.
And she was like, well, I don't know which one it is, so, like, we could sit here and look. I'm like, lady, I do not have the time for that. It just made me so
Jesus
frustrated.
Christ. Oh god.
Do you work here? Can you check these in for me? I'm running late as it is. Thanks.
Before we can even answer, he drops his books on the desk and then hurries back out the door.
I wonder why he was in such a rush.
No clue, but I respect him still taking the time to drop off his returns. Do you want to start writing them
Oh,
down?
yes, absolutely. I appreciate customers. It's like, I work in a clothes store, so if they don't have like the time to put anything back, even if it's come up to me and say, hi, I don't want these anymore, can you just take care of this for me? And went, yeah, sure. It's better than them just dumping it somewhere.
Oh my god, I've had that happen so many times. I was just,
Yeah.
because, or, I mean, you probably had this experience before of like, you know, the customer would be shopping and then they have second thoughts about something and then they'll just dump an item in a wholly different part of the store and you find
Yeah.
it and they're like, what do you mean? Why is this here?
Yep. It's more confusing when they dump a full price item onto the reduced section, and the next customer thinks that is also reduced, and I'm just like, no, someone must have put it there by mistake.
Well, I
As in
found it
someone must have
there,
put it there.
so it should be reduced.
Well, it doesn't have the red sticker, therefore it doesn't. I can always double check the price for you. Proves them wrong, and it's like, oh, oh.
Okay, listen, you haven't dealt with Americans, and I guarantee you, even though you've looked it up, they would still blame you for that. Of like, well, it was in the reduced section, so I should get a price reduction. God.
Oh, believe me. I have never dealt with an American before, but I'm too much of an introvert enough to deal with enough, like, angry customers.
I remember the one section I hated working in the most was the children's book section. Because parents would literally come in and we had to like put out a notice on our front door to not leave your kids unattended.
Oh God.
Because where the store was, there was like a bunch of other stores along that strip. So parents would come in, drop their kids off, and then go shop somewhere else, and then come back to pick them up. So they treated us like a daycare service. And we're like, ma'am, you cannot leave your child here. Your child's like 5. And they're like, well, why can't you watch them? And I'm like, because I am working.
Yeah, luckily, when I used to work in a Disney store, we didn't have any of that shit happening, at least whilst I was around anyway.
Oh my God. I was just like, look, if you don't want your kid to go with you, then like, love y'all, but don't bring your kid to the store shopping with you to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it is not the worker's responsibility.
No, we are not a daycare. We are not your babysitters.
I mean, if you want me to be your babysitter, pay me extra. Like, pay me out of pocket.
Yeah.
Sure.
Taking a deep breath, I grab the top book and the pen. The title isn't too long, fortunately. Slowly, I start copying the letters down. First a curve, then a straight line, then a loop, then an arch.
Hello, welcome.
I didn't even hear the door open this time. As more and more people start to come in, Aspen and I both end up pretty busy. The pile of books that need to be checked in grows fast, and I have to start taking some of them back to the shelves as I go, just to make space. Using a little chart with the alphabet and numbers on it, I'm able to slowly match the labels on each book to their spot in the shelves. As the library gets busier, though, I start making some educated guesses about where certain books belong and putting them with ones that look similar. I can fix it later if I have to.
Miho, could you give me a hand, please?
Over at the desk, the line of people has gotten pretty long. I have no idea what all of these people normally did when there wasn't anyone to help them. I shove the rest of the stack I'm carrying into an empty shelf and hurry over to help. After finishing with one guest, she hands me a few handwritten notes with label numbers on them.
Can you go find these? I think one was returned today, so it might not be on the floor yet. Also, these ones were checked out in the wrong name, so they need to be corrected on the sheet. These 3 here are going to be picked up later, but we've been asked to pull them ahead of time, so make sure not to get them mixed up with the others. Okay?
Got it. Maybe.
You've got this.
With a little cheer, she goes back to assisting people. I watch for just a moment. She's clearly in her element here. Even with the line growing longer, Aspen doesn't seem to be getting nervous. I can't say the same about myself, though. There's no time to waste. I bounce from the library trying to find the books Aspen wrote down. It takes a while, and I get the instructions mixed up a few times, but eventually I manage to track them all down. When I bring them up to the desk, the stack of returns has gotten almost as tall as I am, so I start checking them in as quickly as I can. Meanwhile, Aspen has moved around to the front to give me more space to write and work.
Alright, let's see.
Oh, I love this art, it's cute.
Oh, it's adorable!
I grab the top book, start to copy, then the next, and then the one after that. Before long, they start to blend together, and the letters seem to swirl and move around on the page. I thought this was going to be easy, but it's making my brain feel like soup. I'm determined to push through it. Even if it makes me, even if it takes me forever, which at this rate it just might. If Aspen weren't here, I don't know what I'd do, or what I'll even do tomorrow on my own. We'll worry about that later, though. For now, I have to keep doing the best I can. Book after book, line after line, guest after guest. It gets easier as the day goes on. I wouldn't say it gets easy. But Aspen and I keep going, and eventually as we do start to get things under control and keep the chaos to a minimum, it's tough work. Not too tough. Maybe Aspen was right about something. The more I try, the more I feel like I can do this. Old scars and new friends. Chapter 3!
To free!
Hello, Mimo. Alright, I'll let you go.
Yep.
Thanks. You too.
Pull my chair closer towards the desk. There we go. The kind old man takes his book Let me try that again. The kind old man takes his books under his arm and shovels out of the library. A whoosh of cool air passing over me as a door opens and shuts.
Finally, time for a break.
With no one else waiting to be helped, I glance around a dozen or so people milling about before plopping myself down onto the cushion that Juliet set up for me behind the desk. Who knew that working would be such hard work? These past few weeks since I started helping at the library, there's a bit... Oh my god, I can't read today. At the library have been a bit of a blur. There's always so much to do. At least most of it is pretty easy. Like straightening out furniture or putting things away when they get left out. I don't know what the big deal is, but I think it looks better when it's a little messy. But it's what Julia asked me to do, so I do it. Yeah, it's not mess, it's organized chaos.
Yes, no, I feel the same way, especially like because wife and I have our distinct things to where I have my books organized a certain way, I have the movies assigned a certain way. So it's like, hey, can you go pick out a movie? And I'm like, yeah, it's on the third row, second to the left. Please pick it up. And then like the moment it gets changed, I'm like, you've messed up the whole chaos order that I had.
Yeah. Talking to patrons, Aspen taught me that word. It's getting easier as well. The first few times someone came up to me for help, I was so nervous I could barely speak. There's so much to remember and still so much to learn. I still don't like talking to people in general mood, but it gets easier now. I get a little anxious when I see someone walking up to the counter, but it's not too bad. Of course, everyone who comes up thinks it's my first day there, even though I've started to recognize some of the regulars. They never recognize me. Aspen's the only one who comes by every day. What I didn't expect was the hardest part will be checking out books to people. A sheet of paper with a bunch of little boxes in them, and I'm supposed to write the names of each person in the books they're taking. Since I have to copy the letters by hand each time, it takes me a while. If someone has a lot of books, or the ones with the really long titles, then it takes me even longer. Sometimes people get a little impatient, but I'm going as fast as I can. I can only work as my hands as my arms could do, okay? Either way, it makes the days go by faster. I wouldn't really call it fun, but I don't hate it either. Having a bit of money that I earned rather than stole feels surprisingly good too. At least I don't have to worry about someone trying to take it back. I hear the front door open again and look up to greet the new person like Juliet taught me. It turns out to be a familiar face. My nerves settling a little as the sight of her.
Hey, Miho.
Ben! Sometimes I forget I'm not supposed to be loud here.
Hi, Aspen.
Okay, that was kind of cute, though.
Oh, I know. It's like, hi, Aspen. I mean, hi, Aspen. Hey. Say it again, but quieter. She comes up to the desk and sets down a couple of books that she checked out a few days ago.
Whoa, done already?
One of them I simply couldn't put down because I had to know how the story ends.
Well, that's a mood.
I was worried it would have a sad conclusion, but the ghost girl becomes real and gets to stay with her girlfriend, and they all live happily ever after.
Aww.
The other book was unreadable, unfortunately. I won't be trying that author again.
Damn, that's a mood.
That's too bad. Should I tell Julia we can get rid of this one?
Well, it's not that terrible. I'm sure someone out there could enjoy it, just not me.
If you say so.
It seems to me if Aspen doesn't like a book, then that book must be really, really bad. Maybe I'll ask Juliet about it later anyway. For now, though, I start copying the titles down to return sheet while Aspen goes up to find new books. She comes back right as I'm finishing up with a small stack in her hands.
You find books as fast as you finish them.
If only I knew exactly what I was looking for this time.
She hands me the pile and I begin writing the names down. I feel her watching me as my hand makes us each slow line.
Say, Miho.
I have to finish the letter I'm working on before I pay attention to Aspen.
Yeah?
Have you,
She wrings her hands, looking like she's not sure how to ask her question. Aspen seems to think a lot before she speaks, so I've learned that sometimes it's easier just to make her spit it out.
Just say it. I don't mind.
Have you ever considered having writing classes?
Please.
You need to learn your ABCs. It's like Sword in the Stone where Archimedes tried to teach Arthur how to write. Oh, I haven't seen that film in ages.
Learning to read and write.
Hold it.
Would probably save you quite a bit of time.
I ain't got time for that.
I look down at that mess of scribbles on the paper in front of me. Even though I wrote them, they don't mean anything to me. Juliet never seems to have an issue, though, so it's good enough for me.
Not really. I've gotten by fine without it so far.
Oh, come on. You can't keep using that excuse for everything. You've been here for more than a month now.
He's getting an edumacation.
An education. Learning doesn't have to be hard. When you have a library card.
Oh my god. It's not, well, it's not wrong. She has like the best time and best place to learn.
Yeah. She does have a point there. I told myself so many things that I was going to stop letting my past define me. But still, reading and writing? It would be useful, it's true. With so many letters, though, it seems like a lot of work. And I'm already doing a lot of work as it is.
Hold up. The game screen, a little squish, there's a black bar at the bottom. There's a black bar at the bottom? Is there?
Oh yeah, there is a little black thing at the bottom. I'm presuming it's... Is it how you positioned your You're playing on the you're playing on PlayStation, aren't you?
Yeah.
Is it how your Elgato is positioned, or how it's...
I can barely see it on my screen, but let me pull it up. Like, in OBS, it looks fine to me. Let me pull it up real quick on Twitch. Maybe it's different for y'all.
Okay. I mean, I can understand it looking like a bit squished, but I'm obviously, I'm lurking in your stream at the same time. I'm looking over at the Discord as well. But yeah, I can see that the left-hand corner is cut out on the Twitch side. So, yeah, like if you see.
Oh god, it's starting to repeat itself.
Oh no!
Okay, I mean, because, like, I'm using the display capture because if I do window capture, for some reason my computer just does not like it. So I know if I try, because if I scroll my mouse to the right, watch what happens. It's gonna make it smaller. This is what the capture
Okay.
device looks like. I don't know if you can see it if you're looking through Discord, but on Twitch it looks like that.
Okay. Okay.
So I think that's what it is. Then I have to give it a second because it tries to fix it. But a ton of the game, so I can see a tiny little difference. Don't mind me too much. It's all good. It's all good. I just want to make sure that y'all have the best experience. And in display capture, it looks like it's 1920 by 1080. So I don't know how else to fix it.
Yeah, I think like, as long as it's not cutting out anything like important, I think
Yeah.
it's mainly the borders. But yeah, I didn't even notice that it was a bit squished. To be fair, I thought you were on about like the black bars, which I thought, you know, that would be like how the Elgato was showing on the OBS.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't even know how to start doing that.
I'd be happy to help you, and I'm sure Juliet would too. She'd be delighted if you picked it up.
Her usually quiet voice starts to raise, only adding to my doubts.
I'll think about it, I guess.
No, I won't take no for an answer. I'll do some research when I get home and bring some materials later.
You're going to learn.
Lesson plan and a schedule and...
Whoa. Don't I get any say in this?
Nope.
You didn't say no, and that's enough for me.
It's like I didn't hear or no.
That isn't what I came here to talk to you about.
Aren't you here to get books?
Right, that too. But anyway...
Husband reaches into the purse and pulls out a slightly crumbled flyer, which he hands to me. Looking at the glossy cover, it's covered in pictures of little vases and statues, and other odd-looking things.
There's an exhibition at Te Papa about Korean history and culture, for a limited time only. I thought you might be interested in seeing it.
An exhibit at your dad?
No, it's our biggest museum. Te Papa is one of the most interesting places in Wellington, perhaps even New Zealand as a whole.
Exhibit at your
Free,
dad's,
that isn't
that's
a
funny.
concern. Look, there's even a map of how to get there on the back.
After I flip the flyer over, she points to the map of Wellington that's very similar to the one I used on my first day here.
This is the Bell House, so you just go up this road, turn here, then here.
I know that she explains, but it really isn't necessary. I may not be able to read, but I can at least use a map.
Anyway, it's only open when I'm at work, so I won't be able to join you. But I imagine you might appreciate having some time to yourself too.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It's been a long time since I've really had a moment to myself, other than when I go to bed. I'm always around Aspen or Juliet, or the patrons at the library. That's another big change in me. I'm noticing more and more these days.
I'll check it out. Thanks. Maybe they'll have something that can help me find my person.
Aspen smiles, but it's a thin smile. Like she's once again holding back from saying something. This time, however, she doesn't give me a chance to make her say it.
Perhaps, yes. Right, well, I need to get back to work. My break will be over soon. I just wanted to pick these up so I have something to read during any downtime at my shift. I'll see you this evening after I look up some reading resources. Tell Juliet I said hello.
Will do. Bye.
With a smile, Aspen blows a kiss, mwah, and then quickly spins around and heads out of the door, leaving me standing around with the flyer in my hands. Without any patrons waiting around, I take a closer look at some of the artifacts on the pages. Most are cracked and worn with age, but still have a little colour to them. A couple have a writing on them, so I can tell that there's a different language from the one I've been getting used to copying here. In a way, they seem kind of familiar. Not just familiar, but nostalgic. Like they're related to a memory that's just out of reach. I don't know if it'll bring me any answers, but at least it'll be something interesting to see.
Hiya. I've got these to check out, please.
I quickly tucked the pamphlet into one of my pockets, turning to greet the young boy eagerly waiting at the counter with several books to check out.
You got it.
I lift the first book off the stack and slowly begin my process. Maybe Aspen's lessons won't be so bad after all.
I'll go from here.
Okay.
Closing time finally comes around. Patrons slowly trickling out. Some of them linger for a while, making their final selections before bringing them up to the counter. Fortunately, Juliet's here to help me, or it'd take me all night to get through the line of people waiting.
Thank you very much, Miss Callahan. We'll see you next time. Oh, Dottie. Glad to see you're still reading Pullman. Only one left to go in the series. Bye-bye, Abdul. Bye-bye, Jamar.
In the time it takes me to finish writing down one person's checkouts, Juliet can get through 5. She even knows everyone by name, as well as their reading habits. It always impresses me. How did you keep track of them all? We finally managed to get through everyone, a sigh of relief escaping as the last patron heads out.
Thank you.
My ears prick up at the sound of Aspen's voice as the patron holds the door open for her.
Sorry, we're closed.
Aspen hesitates for a moment as she walks up to the desk, but then she laughs.
You almost had me for a moment.
I collapse onto my cushion while Juliet puts everything away under the desk.
Excellent work today, Miho. You're getting better and better.
Am I? It doesn't really feel like it.
It can be hard to notice your own progress sometimes, but I promise it's there.
And it's only going to get better. Look what I brought.
She wraps her knuckles against a pile of thin books she brought with her. There's also a small bag that rattles when she moves it.
Are those? Yes, they're the phonic books I said I'd bring by.
Phonics? Why, Miho? Have you decided to learn to read?
Not by choice.
I was forced to learn.
Guess so.
Oh, that's a mood.
I pick up one of the books from Aspen's pile. The words on it are big and written in a very simple style. There are pictures that go along with it. I've spent enough time in the library now to recognize that these kinds of books are meant for little kids. But I guess that's what I need. It's embarrassing, and maybe I could just use that as motivation to learn faster. And if I end up hating it, I can just quit. Like always, I have the option of running away from something I don't like. Still holding the
Still
book.
hold- I'm so sorry. I thought I was reading. I'm so sorry. My
No.
mind is all over the place.
You're good.
Oh my god.
Still holding the book, I'll look up to see Juliet and Aspen both watching me, waiting to see what I'll say. I take a deep breath and then smile.
So, how do I start?
Both of them break into a grin as well.
I have just the thing. Come with me.
Both of them break into a grin as well. Aspen's so eager that she barely waits for Juliet and I to step out from the counter before leading us to a table beside the aisles of books. Guessing that I'll be here for a while, I pull up a seat while a curious Juliet hovers over my shoulder. She sits down and begins unpacking the bag she brought into the table, turning out to be a bunch of pens and pencils. She hands me one before placing a small workbook in front of me.
Let's start with the alphabet. Juliet, would you mind? Your handwriting is much better than mine.
Oh god.
Gladly.
You don't want to see my handwriting. My handwriting's awful.
Oh, my handwriting's awful as well. It's so messy.
Realizing she's going to be a part of this, she quickly takes a seat to my other side and selects a sleek black pen. Opening the book, she brings her pen to one of the blank lines.
So, to begin with, this is the letter A.
The two of them take turns going through different letters of the alphabet and showing me how to write them. Although I have a hard time remembering which is which, I pick up the writing part pretty fast, since I've had a lot of experience at work already. Each of them writes an example letter at the top of my paper first, before I take my turn to try it. Juliet's handwriting is very precise and clean. It reminds me of something you'd see on an advertisement or book. Aspen's, on the other hand, it's almost as messy as mine. Sometimes I'm not sure she's even writing the same letters as Juliet and I. After we get through the whole alphabet, they quiz me by holding up cards with different letters, asking me to name them. I get a lot of them wrong, but I do get a lot of them right too. When Aspen finally calls it quits for the night, I'm a little bit disappointed.
So, how do you feel? I think you made very good progress for this being your first night.
Indeed. You should be proud of yourself, Miho.
I can't keep a little smile off my face. Maybe I am a little proud.
Hey.
More fun than I thought it'd be. It was tough at first, but I think I'm getting the hang of it.
You certainly are.
Yes, if you work on it a little bit each night, I'm sure you'll make great progress.
The workbook that Aspen gave me already has a few pages complete because of how fast we were going.
Do you think I could learn to read by the end of this week?
The look the two of them exchange tells me my answer.
Not that quickly, I'm afraid. Even for the fastest learners, it still takes a few months to make much progress in reading. Going by how quickly you picked this much up, though, I think you'll do just fine.
Oh, I see.
I've been expecting this to take a few nights at most, but months? A lot longer than I was anticipating. I must look disappointed because Aspen frowns and leans forward.
Don't worry, I'm sure that time will fly by. As long as you're getting a little better every day, you'll be able to notice the results soon. Here, why don't you try this?
Aspen gets up from the desk and maneuvers behind me, putting her hand on top of mine. It's a little shaky, and I notice her face is red as she makes a point not to look at me. Don't look, don't look, don't look.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
I almost jerk it away out of instinct, but keep my cool instead. I'm not used to people touching me, but I know that with Aspen, it's just a friendly gesture.
Here, follow these lines.
She gently guides my hand up and down across the paper, slowly forming the letters on my page with me. After 4 letters, she stops and scurries back to her chair. Juliet snorted of amusement from my sides only confused me further. I couldn't do it. It was too much for me.
Can you read what that says?
I look down. The word on the page looks familiar. I squeeze my eyes shut, picturing the cards that they were holding up and what each letter sounded like.
Me. Miho.
With a jolt, I realize it's my own name. Juliet and Aspen both clap excitedly, a blush forming on my cheeks.
Yes! You did it!
I still can't shake the feeling that it's kind of embarrassing to have them cheer me on for something so simple. Looking down at the paper with my name on it, though, I had to smile a little too. It's the first time I've written my own name, Even if I did have Aspen's help, it's the first time I've read it myself too. I stare at it intently, committing the shape of those letters and emotions to make them into my own memory. I've used so many names in my life, but for some reason, this one feels a bit special. Just for good measure, I write it down a few more times to practice. Each time it gets a little bit less shaky and more legible.
Thank you. Seriously.
Even if this wasn't my idea to start with, it feels like a new milestone in my life already. The start of something else that's new. Can I add that to the list?
It's our pleasure.
Right. Especially since, I did kind of force you into it.
It's okay. Turns out I need people to make me do stuff sometimes.
I'm certainly good at that. You'll have to wait until tomorrow for more, though. I've already stayed a bit too late as it is.
Oh my, I hadn't even noticed the time. It sure did fly by, didn't it?
As she gets to leave, Juliet and I take to our feet as well. Before realizing it, I let out a yawn.
I'll leave all this stuff with you, Miho, so you can study at your own pace. I'll try to come by at nights as well to help you practice.
And you're always welcome to ask me for advice too.
Thanks. I'm gonna practice during work too, when I don't have anything else to do.
That sounds wonderful. Good night, you two. Thanks for having me over.
Bye, Aspen!
Good night, Aspen. We'll see you soon.
With her trademark smile and wave, Aspen leaves the library. The two of us watch her go as she heads out into the night's darkness outside.
I imagine you must be tired too, right?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I really am.
My hands are sore from all the writing. My palm is covered gray with smeared pencil lead and ink.
Can't believe that wore me out.
You had a full day of work too. You should get some rest. I'll finish cleaning up and preparing for tomorrow.
Are you sure? I didn't really do many of my chores today.
I'm certain. Go on, go to bed.
Yes, mother.
Okay. Secretly glad to be heading to bed rather than doing more work, I start to head out. As I look back, Juliet playfully waves me out of the room.
Good night. And thanks again.
You're always welcome, Miho. Have a good night.
With a pause for another yawn, I stretch and head up the stairs. I'm going to sleep well tonight. As I lie in bed and wait for sleep to take me, I reflect on my day like always. Today was a good day. I accomplished a lot, and I feel proud of myself. I can tell that Julia and Aspen are proud of me too. It's taking some getting used to. It still weirds me out to think that people care about me, that they think of me even when I'm not around them. They're excited for me, about things that don't affect them. It's weird, but in a good way. Now that I think about it, it's been a while since I had a bad day. The shock and uneasiness of having a safe place to live and a stable life have worn off. My daily routine has become just that, routine. But I never get used to things like this. That they'd never be real for me. Well, it turns out I was wrong. Rather than constantly overthink everything, I've gotten better at just going with the flow. I think that's something to be proud of too. Rolling onto my side, I look around my room. It hasn't changed too much since I moved in, but it still feels distinctly mine. It isn't just a space that I happen to be in. Smiling, I close my eyes and roll onto my other side. Just when did I become so sentimental? Hard to say. Maybe that's okay too. I don't mind who I am right now, and my friends don't either. That's enough for me. With peaceful thoughts like that drifting through my mind, I also drift off to sleep. Alright, I'll let you go from here.
Yeah. Work's been quiet today. With only a handful of patrons coming in at all. The few still here to keep to themselves, quietly reading and browsing the aisles. I'd normally be bored on a day like this. It's a good thing I have something new to keep me occupied during my downtime then. A few of those worksheets and books that Aspen gave me yesterday are spread out on the desk, out of the way so I guessed, way out of our guest but still where I can see them. Whenever I get a few minutes to myself, I practice writing letters or memorizing their sounds. When I have to write down titles that are being checked out, I pay more attention to what exactly I'm writing. I'm pleased to notice that it goes faster now than it did before. Still have a long way to go, but I can feel myself making progress with every word I finish. That sense of pride helps motivate me to keep trying. Even when I'm away from the desk, tidying things or putting books away, I try to think about letters and words. It's nice to have something to focus on, rather than just trying to find ways to fill the hours. Just as I settle back down to work after a quick lunch, Juliet comes down from her room with a folded parasol in her hand. With a calm nod of greeting, she walks and joins me behind the desk.
Hey, you're up early.
Yes, I had some daylight errands to attend to. How are you doing, Mia?
Great! Check it out.
I show her one of my worksheets, which was really just a blank piece of paper. On it, I've written my name over and over to practice. The first few, okay, most of them were fairly messy. I think I get the hang of it by the end of the page, though, and the ones are more legible. I offer the paper to Juliet, who looks it over with a smile.
Great job! I'm very proud of you.
Thanks. I'm proud of me too. What kind of errands are you running? Need any help?
That's the spirit! Atta girl!
Not this time. I'm just making a couple deliveries that can't wait until the evening. Will you be alright here by yourself?
Yep. I think I've got the hang of everything by now.
I'm pretty used to handling my duties on my own. If there ever was a problem, it wouldn't be hard to go find Juliet to get her help. That hasn't happened yet, thankfully.
Excellent. I know I've said it before, but you've been a great help around the library. I appreciate your hard work.
Oh, it's not that hard. Besides, it gives me something to do.
That's nice to hear. Don't forget to take some time for yourself and have fun every now and then, though.
I think some advice that Juliet herself should follow more often, but I keep that opinion to myself.
I will. Actually, I'm going to the museum after this. Aspen told me there's an exhibit all about Korea going on there. So, I'm hoping maybe I'll learn something useful.
Useful?
Yeah, like about my person.
Oh, I see.
Juliet gives me the same small smile that Aspen did when I mentioned my person yesterday. I have a very funny suspicion that this person may have died of old age.
Most likely.
Yeah. I know they think it's probably hopeless, but I can't give up. I don't understand how they don't understand, since both of them always talk about caring for those close to you and making lasting bonds. Still, Aspen and Juliet has both done so much for me to hold that against them.
Well, I wish you the very best of luck. You know you can always ask me for help if you need any.
I know. Thanks.
Anytime. I'm going to head out now, but I'll make sure to come back early enough for you to go to Tipapa.
Sounds good. I'll keep studying and working until then. Bye!
Goodbye, Miho.
As Juliet goes out the front door, she pops her parasol open to protect her from the sun, then strolls out and joins the day's crowds. I stare at the now closed door, thinking. I wonder if either Aspen or Juliet has ever felt the same way about someone as I have about my person. It's a hard feeling to describe. It's something warm. I may have forgotten a lot over the years. I've never forgot the face or voice or the way they smelled, like charcoal and paint. All those things are too important to forget. It's kept me going my whole life, been my entire reason for existence. At least until arriving in Wellington, anyway. Even with my new life here, I just can't abandon my old one. Not entirely. Maybe they just don't know how much it means to me. I couldn't blame them, since I've told them all about how little I cared about everything else. Maybe they think like it's a hobby, something to pursue when I have nothing else to do. But even here in the library, surrounded by friends and busying myself with my job, not a day goes by where I don't think that forest back in Korea and my person. It's okay if Aspen and Juliet don't understand. They don't need to. It's important to me, and that's all that matters. So far, they supported me in whatever I do. In fact, when I think about those two, I feel a similar way as when I think about my person. That warm, safe feeling. It's not exactly the same, but it's close. I don't think that's a coincidence. There have been lots of new feelings that I don't quite have words for. Like so many parts of myself, I'm still figuring it out. That might take time, but I have plenty of it. Realizing that I've zoned out, I'll pull myself away from my thoughts and get back to focusing on work and studying. I may have lots of time, but I need to make sure that I use it well. Only an hour or two later, I look up from my work to see Juliet returning from her errands. Folding up her parasol, she soon joins me at the front desk again.
Hello again, Miho. I tried to hurry back so you'd have plenty of time at the museum. You can go ahead and head off. I can handle the library for the rest of the day.
Cool, thanks. I tried to clean up and do as much as I could before you got back.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Enjoy yourself. You'll have to tell me all about it when you get back.
Will do.
I put away my study materials in my room, and then with a big thumbs up to Juliet, leave the library.
Fresh air again.
Since I'm spending so much time inside since I started working, my walks and time outside are more refreshing than what they used to be. The birds singing sound prettier, the scent of food wafting up from the town smell tastier, and I bet even the grass would feel softer if I was in my fox form to feel it. It's been a long time since I've transformed, now that I think about it. I need to stay focused for today though. With the museum as the only thing on my mind, I pick up my pace as I walk to Wellington, heading along the now familiar streets. I pass by the Bell House and glance inside, but I don't see Aspen. She mentioned she'd be working late today, so she must be in the back, or maybe on break. I follow the direction she gave me yesterday until I reached a building that has to be my destination. It's big, with parts that go off in all different directions. Near the front there are two sections flanking the entrance. One is round and tan, while the other is made of darker stone and looks more blocky. bit intimidating, but seeing a few people heading in and out is reassuring. Taking a breath to steady myself, I stride on up. The entrance has a huge glass ceiling, with glass doors that slide open when I approach them. I don't even have to pay or sneak in.
Whoa.
The moment I step inside, I can safely say that I've never been in a place like this before. It looked big from the outside, but from the inside, it's huge.
How am I gonna find the crane exhibit?
Don't even know where to look first. Different paths lead to different types of displays, and I can see floors and elevators going all the way to the top. A family walks by me, following a big arrow that points deeper into the building. Without any better ideas, I decide to take the same route. I'm sure I can ask someone where my exhibit is, but I'll look around on my own first. If I can't find it for a while, then I'll ask for help. I start to wander about once inside, looking for anything that I might recognize from Korea. To my surprise, there's plenty of other exhibits that also end up catching my eye. In one section, a variety of sea life, fish, turtles and others hang from wires above everything else. They look so lifelike that I think they're real animals at first, but after staring closely, I can see they're just models. Another part of the museum is filled with skeletons of what look like giant monsters. I can't even imagine what kind of creatures they once were. Maybe dragons? Spotting a panel with some illustrations, I skip over for a quick look. They aren't dragons, but they look awfully close. I've only seen a dragon once or twice in my life, but I've never seen one of these. Other sections are dedicated to human and fable civilizations. There are restorations of old human houses, as well as diagrams showing fairy homes and a werewolf dens, plus plenty of others. A tour guide talks to another group as I walk around explaining this and that. I go closer through this part, feeling a little nostalgic. I even recognize some of the human technology and knickknacks from long ago. I had no idea where they were old. I had no idea where they were old enough to be part of the museum now. There's even a big memorial to the war, showing humans and fabled fighting against one another. At the front is a painting of when the peace treaty was signed, which was the start of humanity and a fable coexisting. I was around back then, but I stayed out of it, like I stayed out of most things. Honestly, the history doesn't interest me too much, but I'm sure Juliet would love to see this. I'm sure she already has at some point. Just when I'm thinking about giving up and asking for help, I finally find what I'm looking for. A large banner with some text that I recognize as Hangul, the Korean writing system, is hanging over a number of display cases and tabletop exhibits. I hurry over to get a closer look.
Sorry.
Bless you. It's quieter up here than it was on some of the lower floors. Unable to take my time browsing without feeling that I'm getting in anyone's way. At the same time, my heart starts to beat faster with anticipation. I may not know what I'm searching for, but I'm sure I'll know when I see it. I stare at the entrance and slowly make my way through. The first section was full of pottery and carvings, like the brochure Aspen gave me. There are little animals and people carved out of stone, and even a few made of metal. A number of clay pots and vases sit on the pedestals next to them. Most are cracked or damaged, but some look as good as new. Moving on to the next part, there are a few intricate-looking outfits adorning mannequins. Some are just pants and a jacket, but some are vividly coloured dresses that hang to the floor. I can almost feel the delicate silk in my hands. If I was still a thief, I bet these would sell for a lot. After the clothes are paintings. Tigers and birds are common subjects, but so are people and cities too. Others feature gorgeous landscapes and flowers. I have never been a big fan of art, but somehow these are different. Looking at them doesn't make me sad, but it does make me feel something. Like I'm wanting something I can't have. Suddenly, it comes to me. A feeling that I've heard about, but that I don't think I've experienced before. Homesickness. A painting of a green forest could have been the one where I was born. I passed through towns that looked like those in the paintings and hid from humans who looked like the ones shown inside them. Not all the memories are good ones, but they're mine. Not much that I can relate to nowadays in terms of people or places. I have friends now, sure, but I don't have much in common with them. That's never mattered before, but now. I wish I could reach out and touch the paintings before me, to feel something from the same era as me. Of course, they're behind ropes, which keep me well back. I reluctantly start to move on again. Just as I do, a certain painting catches my eye. It's small and displayed out of the way in the corner, as if nobody thought it was that important. The edges are jagged and torn, but the crucial part is still there. On one side, there's a fox surrounded by trees and leaves. Its fur is a different colour than mine, but it's clearly a fox. Just across from it, a human-like figure. She's dressed in an outfit similar to the ones I was just admiring, but that's not what stands out the most to me. On her head were two pointy ears, and several long, bushy tails peek out from the bottom of her dress. When I look at the fox again, I notice that it also has more than one tail. I breathe in deeply, as if I could inhale the scent of the forest just from this artwork. Another Gumiho?
Hi, Crow. How you doing?
Oh, I'm gonna sip some more. I take in all the details I can. He's smiling, but a sharp fang makes his smile look sinister. The hand at her side has long claws instead of regular fingernails. Claws that are clearly meant for ripping. Whatever she's looking or smiling at is missing. Like being part of a torn section, there's just one part that remains. A pair of boots on the ground, surrounded by the edge that what must be a pool of blood. Only then I do notice the blood around her lips on the ground beneath her claws. And then the unmistakable bone, white bead hanging from the string around her neck. It's glowing like the moon. I instinctively raise a hand to my neck, feeling my own bead. It's reassuring, warm to the touch. Somehow I get the feeling that the one in the painting would be ice cold. This portrait of a Gumiho, leaves me conflicted. There's the same longing I felt looking at the painting of the forest. But those claws and the blood, those feel foreign and detached. most people view Gumiho? It would explain the fear and terror that seems to follow me whenever I went when I was younger. The curses and threats from farmers and townsfolk whenever they saw me. It wasn't until after the war, when the fable became more common in human lands, that I felt comfortable without my ears and tail hidden. Even then, I sometimes get dirty looks just for existing. The threats were usually reserved for when I get caught stealing. Still, I've never been like the Gumiho in the painting. Stealing is one thing, but hurting someone? That just isn't me. I wish I'd been able to explain that to them. I wonder how different my life would have been. I tear my eyes away from the painting, but I know I'll be thinking about it for a long time to come. There's no point dwelling on what could have been. I pass through the rest of the Korean exhibit quickly, barely glancing at the artifacts I haven't seen yet. It isn't until I nearly left the gallery that I see something that makes me pause again. In a small and unremarkable display case among many others, there is a number of delicate scrolls. On each one, a few old Korean characters are written. I don't think they're Hangul, but I don't know what they're called. They do look familiar, though. I left my own scroll back at home for safekeeping, but I don't need it with me to compare. The sweep of the brushstrokes, the shape of the characters, the shade of the ink. Closing my eyes and breathing in deeply, I swear I can smell them. My person. I press my hand against the glass. This is the closest I've been in the hundreds of years. After centuries of looking, I finally...
Hey, no touching!
I leap backwards as someone shouts. I look around and see a woman wearing a badge and museum t-shirt stalking towards me angrily. The instincts I thought I'd bury kick in. It's time to run.
I done messed up. I touched the art.
I'm surrounded on almost sides by cases. The only open direction is the one attendant is approaching from. Just say sorry and don't touch the glass! Think, Miho. Think. There has to be a way out of this. Can I jump over displays? No, they're way too tall. Maybe if I transformed, I can get past the attendant. I would have no idea how to navigate this building, though, and being a fox would attract way too much attention in a place like this. If I wait for them to get close, then I could probably run past them like a security guard when I first arrived in Wellington. Heart racing, my panic must show on my face, because to stop a couple of meters away from me, frowning.
Hey, it's not that big a deal. Just please keep your hands off in the future.
With a shrug to turn around, leaving me alone. That's it. The hands were shaking as I watched them retreat, expecting them to snap around and come after me. Of course that doesn't happen, and I'm very slowly able to relax. All I'm left feeling afterwards is a lot of embarrassment. Oh, that's a mood.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Looking around me, I'm glad there aren't any people in this area. Nobody's looking at me either. Either out of politeness or because I just didn't notice. My face is burning red and I look down the scrolls again just to hide it. Sigh. Maybe it was silly of me to think that I can change myself entirely in such a short time. Considering I just remembering the old days and all the abuse that I went through from humans, it makes some sense. Try to settle myself down a little, I turn my attention back to what's really important. While I know these scrolls have to be from my person, they don't help me much on their own. There's a little card in one corner of the case covered in text. It might have something useful written on it, but that doesn't do me any good. Consider trying to copy it all down to have Aspen or Juliet read it to me later, but there's so many words that I'm not sure if I can get them all. I gulp, looking over the museum attendant that I was just so scared of just a moment ago. I do have one option. Summoning all my courage, I approach them slowly. They're just a regular person, I remind myself, like Aspen or Juliet, or even like me now, just doing their job.
Excuse me?
I hope that's polite enough. She looks over to me. Her face doesn't look annoyed, more bored.
Can I help you? I'm sorry for touching the glass. I was wondering if you could tell me a bit about those papers, like who wrote them.
Like I said, it's no big deal. It's just a safety precaution so nothing gets damaged. Anyway, there's an informational plaque in the corner. It should have all those details.
I can't read.
I can't read! Would they even believe me if I say I can't read? I'm worried that might make me even more suspicious.
Can't see very well, and the words are so small. Can you read it for me?
There we goes.
Oh, sure. Let's see.
That was almost too easy. They don't question or analyze me at all. Simply walking over and leaning in next to me.
Says here these were some of the first works by a calligrapher whose name was Jong-in in the 17th century. They were a scholar who lived in Korea and...
The attendant keeps reading, but I'm not listening. I've already gotten what I came for, a name. You know what? They said it and I cannot remember what it sounds like. Jong-in.
Jongin, yeah.
Jong-in. For the first time, I have something to call them. Something that's unmistakably theirs. I pretend to listen to the rest of what's being read out loud and thank the person on autopilot when they're done. My head's not here in the present moment. It's back in the forest where I was born. Jong-in. Once I've walked away, I say it out loud, trying out how it sounds. I think it fits them. I say it over and over again, making sure I'll never forget. Finally, I have something to go off. A little dazed from the enormity of the moment, I find my way downstairs and wander around the museum. I can't wait to tell Juliet and Aspen. I'm so excited that I end up missing my turn to take me back to the library. Lost in my thoughts about what will happen when I get there instead. I don't even realise that I zoned out until I reached the edge of Mount Victoria, right where the city streets turn into parkland.
Oops. Good thing I can find my way back from here.
Whoops. I'm still within the area that I visited before, so I'll be able to use the mount as a landmark to find my way back. I hum to myself as I turn back, head abuzz with pleasant thoughts. If I give Juliet my person's name, I'm sure she can help me track them down. That's what she specializes in after all. And I'm sure Aspen wants to hear all about their life too. She loves stories and I'm sure Jong-in will have a ton. I'm not sure how they feel about seeing me again. I doubt they ever expected it to happen. They'll definitely be surprised when I'm not just a fox they met back then, but a person now. I have a feeling they'll at least be as glad as I am. Miho, I got news for you. Right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold your hand as I say this. They might be, not with us anymore. This was centuries ago, darling. Sorry. It's not meant to be funny. But
No, it's fine. I'm just like, damn, you know, feel bad, but like, Miho, we gotta let you know. We gotta put her down softly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm maybe halfway home before I realize that I'm not alone. The prickling sensation in my back of my neck is unmistakable. My instincts are telling me that someone else is nearby. Oh? I'm still near the mountain, but it's practically empty here. I can hear the sounds of the other people in the distance, but they're all hidden by trees and hills. I whip my hair back and I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth, but try as I might, I can't work out where they are. It's a strange and disconcerting feeling, given how easily I can pick up even the smallest animals. Then, from the corner of my eye, I spot a bush slightly shuffling. Just as I turn to take a proper look, the silver fox I saw the other day steps out of it.
Oh, it's just you.
I start to bend down and reach out a hand like I would to pet a dog but hesitate. I know from experience that a fox wouldn't respond to that. I'm surprised she hasn't run away already. That's what I would have done. She stares at me without the slightest movement, her eyes locked on mine. My heart jumps as the hairs on my back and my neck stand up. Something is off. Then, without taking her eyes off me, she starts to transform. I
Oh.
barely have... Oh, Ayo. I barely have time to be shocked as her arms and legs get longer and her fur retracts, head shrinking and changing into something more human-like. For the first time in my life, I'm face to face with another Gumiho.
Okay, I'll go from here.
Yeah, sure.
My throat tightens and goes dry. My vision narrows and my ears start ringing in shock. It's as if all of the world has fallen away, except for me and her. The silver and black clothes she's wearing seem to shimmer in the moonlight, like the skin of a snake wanting to strike. Hanging loosely on her frame, the wrapped fabrics around her body and face make her appear almost formless. Her only accessory is a bracelet around her wrist. It's a plain leather band, but a shining white bead is held in the middle by another loop of leather. I recognize that bead. I have one just like it. Well, almost like it. Whereas mine is a duller, milky color, hers is so bright that it almost hurts to look at. The soft blue glow around it reminds me of the full moon. It's almost like she stepped out of the painting I just saw at the museum. A shawl covers most of her face, but her hair and eyes are still visible, those intense eyes. Her gaze reminds me of steel. While they're the same shape as mine, they're sharper, angrier, crueler. She haughtily tosses her long, flowing hair back as she takes a step towards me. I skip back, keeping the distance between us. When I lived in the forest, I knew to flee when I met a predator stronger than I was. Better to get away alive than risk my life for pride. My survival instinct tells me that this is one of those times. The other Gumiho laughs. There's no humor in it. Sharp and hollow. It makes me more uneasy.
So, the human pet still knows when to run.
Okay, but that voice, though, kinda...
The,
Oh my.
the human... What? Pet. I've been watching you for a while. Ever since you came to this place, actually. Watched
Hold up!
And domesticate yourself for the sake of humans. It's pathetic.
Why the fuck didn't you introduce yourself in the first place?
Yeah, you've been watching me.
Like cute. Yeah, you could be like a cute little fox couple together. I mean, fox besties. I mean, come on.
When you first arrived, I was hopeful that we might be alike. Optimistic, even. I was a fool.
She was here for days and you didn't do anything. Like, you had your opportunity. Don't be upset that she moved on with her life.
I see you now for what you are. Nothing better than a dog. Begging for its master's affection and table scraps.
I take it back. She might have a good voice, but she kind of biche.
We are not the same. We are nothing alike.
Her words hang in the air, poisoning my good mood from just moments ago. My first instinct is to run as usual. Something stops me though. I'm entranced. The novelty of this experience of finally meeting another Gumiho keeps me rooted in place despite my fear. No matter what she's like, it's the closest I've ever been to someone like me. I swallowed the lump in my throat and hope my voice doesn't shake as much as I think it will.
So what? Did you ambush me just to say that? Ambush? You should have known weeks ago that I was following you.
Well, I didn't.
But I repeat myself. You've numbed yourself to your instincts and your potential. I saw you in that place of memories. Saw you gaze upon the portrait of one of our sisters. I hoped that you would open your eyes, as you haven't before. It pains me to see your existence do disservice to our very kind. Now that you have seen what you could and should be, perhaps you can still change yourself, dog. Sharpen your teeth and claws once more. These creatures that you bind yourself to, those human and those not, they are but shackles, slowly squeezing away at which is wild and free in you. Do not mistake my words for sympathy or pity. I would see you gone from this place. But so long as you remain, your presence is an eyesore. It pains me to witness.
Leave me alone then. Go away.
Thus, I will do what I must to cure it, as unpleasant a task as it may be. You will never be one of them, no matter how much you might crave it. Better to embrace what you are and can be. Anything else is a waste of your abilities.
But like, she's not trying to be one of them. She's just, being a person. She studies me for a moment longer and then turns away. I feel like I should say something, but I can't find the words. Whether from shock or fear, I'm too dazed to so much as stammer out a denial. Her clothes melt away into silver fur as she transforms back into a fox. I reach out to stop her, but she flits off and disappears into the darkness without a moment's hesitation. The world around me rushes back in, my skin suddenly feeling cold in the night air. The rush of emotions going through my head evaporates, the adrenaline that was running through me ebbs away. I'm left just standing there, alone. Closing my eyes, I muster the strength that I haven't tapped in 2 weeks. My bead warms itself as I transform, my body following the same emotions as the other Gumihos. I try to start chasing her, but my first steps on 4 legs are shaky. I've grown unfamiliar with this form, almost stumbling over just trying to move. Maybe there's a bit of truth in what she said. I take a few steps forward, towards the brush, but soon give up. Even if I caught up with her, what would I say? What would I do? I'd only make a fool of myself. There's a scent in the wind that I couldn't notice as a human, but it's unmissable as a fox. I recognize it immediately, from a long time ago, on one of my first mornings here, when I first woke up from my den near the mountain and stepped outside and knew that someone had been there. It was her. She really was following me from the beginning. For a long moment, I watched the place where she disappeared. Then I transformed back. I don't really feel like a fox right now. I don't know what I'm feeling. Some of what she said is true. I haven't used any of my talents in a long time. My clumsiness when I'm in my fox form, my own original body is a reminder of that. But as for degrading myself for the sake of others, that doesn't feel true. I've spent my entire life living free, and for only myself. It's always been my choice to remain here and to not be forgotten. Why do her words sting so much? If I was totally confident in my decision, then they shouldn't bother me, right? Maybe I've forgotten more of myself than I know. The painting at the museum and the other Gumiho herself both prove that there's something different about me. Something that must come easily to everyone else. The same way all the aspects of daily life at home don't come easily to me either. I feel disconnected, torn between two worlds that I barely know but can't help being drawn to. Where do I fit in? Where do I belong? I know what Juliet and Aspen would say, but does that make it true? Her home hasn't been my home for long. I've been a thief, a liar, for so much longer than I've been whatever I am now. Without anything else to gain out here, I slowly start my way back home. The excitement I felt about telling Juliet and Aspen everything I found in the museum has vanished. It'll have to wait for another time. After a quiet walk through the empty streets to the library, I quietly slink inside, trying to keep Juliet from noticing. I just don't feel like talking right now. It seems to work. I can hear her bustling around somewhere, but she doesn't call out to me when I come in. Without a word, I ascend the stairs to my room as quickly as I can and climb under the covers. It's far too early to go to bed, but I don't know what else to do. If I'm awake, my thoughts will only be a bother. Better just sleep it off and hope that I feel better in the morning. I'll let you go from here.
Okay. Yesterday's events, both the good and bad, linger in my mind while I perform my usual routine of tossing and turning in bed before I get up. Now that shock's worn off, I feel a little better about what's happened. I wonder if I've forgotten all about the other Gomiho at the end of the day. The end of today. In fact, now that I think about it, it's possible that I met another Gomiho before and just forgot about them. Everyone forgets meeting me, so maybe it works in reverse too. Rather than dwell on the idea, I choose to ignore it. There's no way to know, I just drive myself crazy wondering. Instead, I keep myself busy by making myself more presentable for work. Heading into the bathroom, I clean myself up using the soaps and shampoos given to me by Juliet. She's helped me so much ever since I started working here. Looking into the mirror for one final check before I head downstairs for breakfast, I can't help but think of what the other Gomiho said. How I domesticated myself. My spotless face looks back at me, framed by fluffy and pampered hair. I can't deny that I've let myself be spoiled by others, content to just go along for the ride.
Snap out of it, Miho.
I lightly pat my face, like I've seen Aspen do sometimes when she's getting ready to start her own job. I'm not sure what it's supposed to accomplish, but it makes me feel a bit more confident. Heading downstairs, I treated to familiar scent of fresh cut fruit and frying eggs, as well as a pleasant sound of Aspen and Juliet chatting about books. When I enter the kitchen, I'm greeted with two smiles.
Morning, Miho.
Good morning.
Good morning. Breakfast will be ready soon.
Cool.
I slide into my usual spot at the table and grab some apple slices, munching on those while waiting for the other two to go back to their conversation. Instead, both of them look at me expectantly.
So, how'd it go?
The museum?
Of course. What else?
Oh, Miho.
Was everything all right? When I didn't hear from you last night, I was fearing the worst.
Oh, nah. It was fine. They even had what I was looking for. There were some more scrolls by my person.
There's a loud clatter as Aspen drops her fork in surprise. Even Juliet's eyes go wide in genuine shock.
There were?
Are you sure it was them?
I can smell it. I trust my nose.
I smell him.
I smell him.
Their name is Tony, and they're a scholar. I don't know what they study, though. The museum person didn't say.
Oh, sweetie.
For a long moment, there's silence, other than the sound of eggs sizzling in the pan. Both of my friends just stare at me, dumbstruck.
What are those looks for?
Oh no.
You seem awfully calm. I assumed you must not have found anything, or you'd have been back immediately.
Yeah, well, there was some other stuff that happened too. I'll tell you about it some other time.
I was tempted to tell them about the Gomiho, if only because they know they assure me about everything she said. But that's why I can't tell them. Not yet. In a way, I'd just be proving her right.
Well, alright.
We'll be here whenever you need us.
Thanks. Is breakfast ready?
Yes, just now. Here you go.
Juliet fills our plates and takes a seat, and we all dig in. It's a quieter meal than usual, with only the sounds of chewing and silverware scraping against the dishes. I feel like Aspen and Juliet are having a conversation in their silence. Of course they expect more from me. Expect more from me too, and right after leaving the museum I was that excited. I am still excited, of course. It's just being tempered a little. I still plan to ask Aspen and Juliet to help me get in touch with Jongin. But I want to wait until I could do it with a clear head. Oh, Miho. Once everyone's finished eating, I gather up the dirty dishes and take them to the sink, while Juliet washes the pans and Aspen wipes down the tables. Another routine morning.
I'll see you two later. Thanks for breakfast.
My pleasure, as always.
Bye!
With that, Aspen politely takes a leave and heads out the door. Juliet and I then go into the library, ready to start the day. Or end it, in her case. I head to my spot behind the front desk and begin getting everything ready. The checkout sheets, my pens and pencils, my study materials, and so on.
Are you all set, Miho?
Yep, I've got everything I need.
Wonderful. Well, I'll leave you to it then. Have a good day.
You too. Sleep well.
From the way Juliet lingers halfway between me and the stairs, I can tell she wants to say or ask something else. She thinks better of it and simply giving me a smile before heading up to her room. I whistle while I throw open the curtains and unlock the door. By the time I return to the counter, ready for the first patrons to arrive, I even manage a light melody.
Mineral, didn't you ask this last time that we streamed this game? If I'm not mistaken, because there was another, like, yeah, I remember I looked it up. You plan to play the psychological horror game Tsunagi Chess School. Visual novels are like a few and far between kind of thing for me, because that's why I have Hero here with me, because I can't play them for long. Because if I play them by myself, I do tend to pass out from all the talking. But maybe in the future, like again, we're gonna finish this novel, and then I'm gonna probably take a breather. I do have a couple more in my library that I've been meaning to play. It's just that I haven't found people to like sit down with me and like devote a lot of time to read it with me. But maybe in the future.
I've been practicing my whistling a lot lately as a way to spend time while alone. Aspen tries to show me how, but she's not very good at it either. I'm pretty sure I'm already better than she is. The sound of it reminds me of the birds back in my home forest. Before long, patrons starts to arrive, and I soon have a list of things to do. Books to check in and out, books to return, books to search for. It keeps me good and busy. The hours pass by in blissful normalness, and I don't have a single thing to complain about.
Okay. I'll pick the next spot, read a little bit, and I'll have to dip. So,
Yeah, no worries.
kind of said there's not like a definite location to look at though.
No.
You know what? I'm going to assume that uh no, I was about to say Lena might be at work, but she might be at the park. I want to
Ooh.
know more about the Lena story, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like if we
I might.
go to Mount Victoria or the Bay, we might wind up with the Silver Fox girl. I don't like her.
Ooh. Nah. She's got to stick up her ass.
Mm,
Nah. I mean, like, each of their own. She probably has her reasons.
yeah, of course.
It's easier said than done to say things like that.
You know what? We'll go to the cafe. If we see Aspen, we see Aspen.
Eh. I know some pictures are. Sorry, it's you, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's all right here. It's all good.
I'm on autopilot here. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you for helping me.
Mm.
I noticed from pictures all around the cafe that they're advertising some kind of new drink that has bananas and chocolate in it. Oh my god, that sounds so good.
Yes.
Feeling a little burned out on my usual, I decided to be adventurous. Can I get that one? I pointed one of the advertising pictures by the counter.
Oh my god.
Oh, the banana slamma frapparama? God. You have to say the whole thing.
The banana, the slammer, the frappe, the mama, rama.
The employee grimaces a little while she says it, as if embarrassed to have even uttered it at all. She quickly adds, "The name is a work in progress. Aspen asked me what I wanted to name the new frappe, and it was all I could think of on the spot. I'm really sorry. I don't know what apologizing to me will do." I just kind of smile and shrug, handing her my money. Needless to say, the next time I visit the Bell House, all the signs for the new drink are mysteriously gone. Oh. It's a rainy Thursday morning, and the library is as dead as I've ever seen it. Even Aspen didn't come by this morning, simply because she didn't want to get it soaked. We'll see each other later instead. The only patrons here are the ones who don't mind the weather, so I have to make sure they don't drip on any of the books. Before she went to bed for the day, Julie left a bundle of towels near the door for anyone who needs one. At least it makes my work easier. The slow day means I have extra time to study. I'm able to remember most of the letters by now, and even read a few words. Still haven't told Juliet or Aspen my progress, because I want to surprise them with it later. After an hour or so, I set aside my pencil and gaze out the window with my chin resting on my palm.
Huh. It stopped.
It's still cloudy outside, but the worst of the rain seems to be over. I get up and walk to the window, looking around the soggy view. I leap backwards in surprise as something suddenly splats against the glass in front of me.
Whoa!
What? At first, it looks like a puddle of water that stuck to the window, but then it starts to wiggle. I stare in confusion as a pitiful looking face forms in its middle and frowns at me. Suddenly hits me what I'm looking at. This must be a water elemental. I've never seen one for myself before now. Usually,
Sad.
I know. I was like, why does it look like that? They usually hang out in rivers or lakes, but I've heard that they'll sometimes come out onto dry land when it's raining. That must be what this one did. Now that it stopped raining, though,
No, you could dry up.
just like a fire elemental can die if its flames go out, a water elemental like this could be in trouble if it doesn't stay wet. The weather might still be damp, but the sun is starting to poke through the clouds.
Okay. Wait right there. I'll go find something.
I don't know if it can understand me, or even hear at all, but I wave at the window and hold up one finger to try to show that I'll be right back. After a quick peek to make sure there's no patrons waiting, I hurry to the kitchen and dig through the cabinets, hoping to find a pot or something that's big enough. The biggest one Juliet has is the one that she used to make pasta, and even that might be too small. Plus, I'm not sure she'd want the taste of water elemental to be there every time she tries to make spaghetti.
Where else?
I could just wake Juliet up and ask her, but I should really try to solve this before bothering her. Instead, I start hunting through the other rooms for something that might help. There's nothing in the bathroom nor in the library area when I check the dining room a second time. However, I noticed a big bowl on the top of the shelf that I hadn't seen before. I have to stand in one of the chairs to reach it, but I grab the bowl and fill it half full with tap water before hurrying back to the window. The elemental's still stuck there, like a very sad bumper sticker. Bear looks a little smaller, but it ripples with excitement when it sees me, its frown shifting into a watery smile. I head out the front door and skip around to the window, splashing through the wet grass as I go.
Here you go. Come on.
Holding the bowl up to the window, I gently brush the elemental in. To my surprise, it doesn't feel like touching regular water. Instead, it's thicker and a bit sticky, like jello. The elemental starts to slide into the bowl and bubbles. I hope it's a good sign. It doesn't mix with the water in the bowl, but instead it kind of hovers, with water both above and below it. When it gets fully itself to the bowl, it almost fills it up. The water sloshes over to the edge and onto my hands, leaving the bowl almost dry except for the elemental itself. The bubbles stop and an uncertain-looking face peers at me from the bottom.
Alright. Let's get you inside and figure something else out.
I hold the bowl as steady as I can, and try not to spill anymore as I go back to the library. Just like the guest out of the library, I have to make sure not to get any books wet. There's an empty side table near one of the reading chairs. I'll set the bowl down there. The elemental seems fine for now, but it looks worried again. It reminds me a lot of Aspen.
I'm not sure what else to try.
I rack my brain trying to think of something I might have missed in the bathroom or kitchen.
Wait! That bathroom! That's it!
Kneeling down in front of the bowl, I tried to reassure the elemental, which is doing its best to stay absolutely still and not slosh.
Okay, don't go anywhere. If you even can.
Running to the bathroom, I plug up the bath and set the faucet to max.
This ought to work for a bit.
Leaving the water running, I go back and retrieve the bowled elemental. This time I end up spilling more of the water, but luckily it only hits the ground. The tub is about half full by the time we get back, which should be perfect. I turn off the faucet and carefully pour the elemental in.
How's that?
The stream of excited bubbles.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sit tight, and I'll find something we can use to get you back to the river.
More bubbles. Quickly, but not in as big as the rest of before, I go to resume my search on the second floor. Because this place is so big, there are still a few rooms that I've never seen. I'm pretty sure Juliet wouldn't mind me going in, since I'm trying to help someone out. First room that I try is a closet, filled with towels and bed sheets and laundry stuff. The other room after that is locked.
That's weird.
Turn the knob again in case it was just stuck.
Nope, definitely locked.
I wonder what's in there. I never paid much attention to that door before, since it's so far from my room. I drop to all fours to try to see under the door, but it's too narrow to see anything. Another nearby door isn't locked. Even better, it isn't a closet. Aside from the doorway, which isn't particularly bright, it's pitch black when I step inside. I flick on the light switch, but the bulb fizzles and dies right away. It only takes a moment for my eyes to adjust to the darkness. What had first just been dark smudges turned out to be a bunch of boxes and assorted junk. Storage room. The whole place is covered in dust. Guess Juliet doesn't come in here either. Peeking into one of the boxes, it's filled with old kids' toys like dolls, stuffed animals. Another one has some folded up clothes. Just as I'm about to give up and try to hit another room, a half-covered object in the corner catches my eye. A heavy blanket is draped over a glass box, which is full of more random junk. I haul it all out and remove the blanket, smiling at my find. Big fish tank, just the ones I saw at the museum. After turning it over to shake out as much of the dust and debris as I can, I triumphantly take the tank to the kitchen sink and rinse it out before hauling it to the bathroom.
Look what I found.
When I set out the tank on the edge of the tub, the elemental floats up to the top of the bath and ripples. It takes some maneuvering to hold the tank under the faucet, but eventually I'm able to figure it out and fill it up. I use the bowl from before to scoop up the elemental and dump it into the tank.
Perfect, right?
More ripples and bubbles.
Okay, let's get you to the river.
I wrap my arms around the fish tank and lift, and nearly tear my arms off.
That's heavy.
I didn't notice when I was just getting the tank set up, but with all that water in it, it weighs a ton. It's way too heavy for me to carry to the front door, much less all the way to the river.
This could be a problem.
It seems so perfect, so lucky. Even after dumping out some of the water, I still can't carry it. Sitting down on the tile floor, I sigh. The elemental floats dejectedly.
Miho? What's going on? I heard the sinks and bathtub running.
Juliet is standing in the doorway as I look up, wearing a look of concern on her face.
Hey. It was
Juliet, this isn't what it looks like.
Well, there was this water
Please.
elemental on the window. I tried to bring it inside so it wouldn't dry up while I worked out how to get it back to the river, but now I can't carry this huge fish tank that I found.
A fish tank? Where'd that come from?
It was in one of the storage rooms, along with a bunch of kids' stuff. I'm guessing they came from the library's children's section.
Juliet purses her lips, and I feel my heartbeat start to quicken like it always does when I'm in trouble.
Sorry,
Uh-oh.
you didn't want me to go in there.
That was my childhood room.
Was, or what
Mm.
I was even looking for until I found the tank. I didn't look inside the locked room though.
Juliet's frown deepens, but it doesn't look like she's angry. More like she's sad.
No need to apologize. You've done nothing wrong. Although,
I wait for her to finish her sentence, but it doesn't happen.
Although,
never mind. It's nothing. Let's focus on helping our friend here first.
She reaches into the tank and scoops a handful of the water before dripping it back into the floating elemental. The creature seems to enjoy it, as far as I can tell.
Any ideas?
An idea comes to mind after you mentioned that storage room. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I sit back and relax as Juliet departs. I'm glad she doesn't get upset after all, but something was definitely bugging her. I wonder what it was. After a couple minutes, I pick up the sound of something rolling down the stairs. I stand up and poke my head out the door and spot Juliet pulling a red wagon behind her. There's a rope handle and isn't very large, but should have more than enough space for the tank.
Whoa, you're a genius!
With a smile, Juliet parks the wagon next to the bathtub.
As I said, you were the one who gave me the idea. Would you mind helping me lift it onto the wagon?
Sure.
We each take one end and we carefully move the tank. Juliet also brought her a number of tight straps to help keep it in place. Once it's all set up, the elemental is safe and secure. I kneel down to get my face level with the glass.
How do you like that?
This time the elemental shifts into the biggest grin I've seen.
Looks like we've got a winner.
Wonderful. If I watch the library, would you mind taking it back home? You're welcome to borrow an umbrella.
No problem. Be back soon.
Digging a towel and umbrella for myself from the front door, I lead the elemental outside and onto the path. It's cloudy out and more gray than blue. At least it's not raining right now. Still, I don't want to waste any time.
Is anywhere in the river okay?
The elemental bobs up and down.
Just the place then.
The muddy path slows down the wagon a bit, but it isn't too bad. When we go downhill, I have to be more careful not to let it get out of control. Other than that, it's pretty easy. From the bottom of the hill, it's not too far from the spot I had in mind. I noticed a small abandoned ramp into the river way back when I was still living in the woods. It wasn't useful to me
I
then.
don't know why anyone built this place, but it sure worked out for me.
Kneeling near the bottom of the ramp, I wrapped the wagon's rope around my wrist to keep it from rolling away. Then I undo the straps in the tank. With both hands, I gently tilt the tank onto its side. The water elemental spills out, flowing down the dirty concrete into the river. The water begins to churn immediately, bubbling as if something huge is coming to the surface. A rushing sound echoes about the empty area, before a torrent of water suddenly shoots upwards like a fountain, arcing clear over me. To look up, I see the elemental shimmering within the water, catching the light from the sun. For one brief moment, the most beautiful, vivid rainbow I've ever seen hovers before me, so close that I could touch it. Then the water and elemental crash back into the river, and everything goes still. I smile, certain that I understand.
You're welcome.
Okay. We're gonna call it there.
Okay.
So let me save our game.
Hey.
That was really nice. We got to chapter 3, and now we're going to
Yeah.
come back and resume. I guess we'll probably just go back to the kid storyline, because I really don't care much for old man storyline.
Yeah, I don't care about the fishing.
Yeah,
I
it's-
want to know. I want to know what happens to the kid.
yeah. Well, again, thank you for helping me read along today. And where can people find you?
Oh, they can find me on the Twitch. They can find me on the Blue Sky, and they can find me. Yeah, they can find me on the Twitch and the Blue Sky.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you for helping me today. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and hope everyone else has a lovely rest of their day as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Meantime, we are going
Yay.
to raid my friend Yuki. They're playing Yakuza.
Ooh.
We have a lovely time with them. And until next time, y'all, have a good one. Bye.
Okay, bye.
I'll see you later, too. Bye.
See you later. Bye bye.
All right, everyone. Have a lovely time with Yuki. I'll be back later this afternoon at 2 p.m. or 1:30, 2 p.m. CST, one of those two. We're playing Fork Knife again. We're getting Game Miku today. And until next time, y'all, have a good one. Bye.